Then Marvel made $1 billion. Does that mean she should be on the Mount Rushmore? No. And I'm gonna say it, John Byrne's Superman run kinda sucks. All of you are tripping, I don't care. I see the arguments on Twitter. It's not true. Any social community, regardless of if it's like rap, sports, music, just any artistic space in general, there's always something that I and many people like to call the big three. If we were to apply this to superheroes, it would be, of course, Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man. All of them represent something that is integral to the entire space, where they are essentially the blueprint for everything else. Superman, of course, is, I guess, like the moral paragon that a lot of characters would be based on. Batman is he kind of fits into that dark, more mature, but not really anti-hero aesthetic. But if we're being real, he kind of fits into this unique category that I like to call the dark paragon, where they're kind of like have like the morality of, say, a paragon, right? They do symbolize hope in some way, but of course they go about it in a more morally dubious manner at times, but you can count on them to make the right decision when needed. And Spider-Man kind of represents the everyman archetype, the character where we could all see ourselves in him, right? He deals with the money problems, he deals with the girl problems, he deals with a lot of things that we would see in our day-to-day lives. Not saying that Batman and Superman don't have aspects of relatability. Both of them, of course, Batman is a bit difficult to relate to considering he's a billionaire, Superman considering he is an alien, but both of them have their aspects. But Spider-Man kind of fits into that little niche spot between both of them, to be grounded enough like a Batman and more super fantastical like a Superman, while also being that character we can all just feel like we can be under that mask. But this kind of grouping system happens in, say, every sort of just nerd space. Of course, you have like Star Wars, anime, whatever it may be, but a lot of people like to say who is on the Mount Rushmore of that verse. And I guess for this video, we will be talking about who is that fourth pillar of not only just like, I guess, comic books, but just like superheroes in general, specifically from the big two companies, Marvel and DC. And this is a heated debate. A lot of people say it should be Captain America. A lot of people say it should be Iron Man. A lot of people say it should be Hulk, Wolverine. But I'm here to tell you that that is just not true. All of you are tripping. I don't care. I see the arguments on Twitter. It's not true. In my opinion, and it should be for a lot of people, considering just like the facts and the evidence, it should be Wonder Woman. Now, hey, hold your pitchforks down. I'm not saying that Wonder Woman is better than the characters I just mentioned. In fact, I kind of like some of the characters I mentioned more than Wonder Woman. But if we were to look at it as an objective standpoint, and this is coming from somebody who's a fan of all these characters, Wonder Woman just stands for more. If you look at Wonder Woman, she has if we're looking at it from like an archetype perspective, as we did with Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, she is, I guess, the embodiment, the blueprint of the female superheroine. There is no other overlap with any of these other characters, right? Yes, they have similar ideals and morals, but just being that blueprint, that kind of tapestry where every other character can fall off of and like connect to, Wonder Woman is that character to fill up that space, right? She fills up the female-centric spot for superheroes. Before we get any further, I would just like to kind of let you guys know that about 93% of you guys aren't subscribed. So if you don't mind, please hit that subscribe button, hit post notifications so you know when a new video goes live. And yeah, if we're just going to look at just like the real world connections that she's had with, I guess, history. If you look at the creator of Wonder Woman, I believe his name is William Marston. He is the creator of the first polygraph, which, if you don't know what that is, it's essentially the lie detector test. And if you think about it, right, Wonder Woman's lasso of truth, that is a lie detector, right? And you're kind of seeing how like this kind of thought, this process that went on to influence the real world, kind of blended in with this artistic vision of a female superhero, the first female superhero in America to be at that level. And even going forward in time, I think it was about 2017. It was around the time of the Wonder Woman movie, but Wonder Woman had so much influence that she became an honorary UN ambassador for like women and girls like empowerment. And unfortunately, because some people just aren't like that, they don't like fun and they don't like happiness, they took Wonder Woman out. But I digress. A lot of these other characters, not only do they not have the real impact as what I've just mentioned, but in terms of just the overall quality and consistency of comics, especially if we compare them to the post-crisis version of Wonder Woman. Yeah, she started off with George Perez, right? That's a character-defining run that kind of put everything into perspective, got all the pieces of Wonder Woman that we saw in the Gold, Silver, and Bronze Age, and kind of blended it into a nice package where we got to see and explore not only Diana, her supporting cast, and her villains. I want to touch upon her villains as well a bit later on, considering how underrated I believe they are. But yeah, we had George Perez. Right after that, we had William Messner-Loebs' run. We had John Byrne. I'm going to drop a hot take here. I don't like most of John Byrne's stuff at DC. I feel like a lot of his Marvel work is completely superior, but like his Wonder Woman run, I will say, is one of his defining works at DC. And I'm gonna say it, John Byrne's Superman run kind of sucks. It really just took all the lifeblood out of Superman, and it took many writers after him to kind of bring back what was already previously well established in the Golden, Silver, and Bronze Age, which I know that the post-crisis universe was supposed to be a jumping on point where you start at kind of a zero, but they put him at a -5. Like they did my boy dirty, bro. It took until the 2000s where I think they actually got Superman in a good status quo, which, considering that post-crisis started in 1986, 20 years, that's almost 20 years, that's way too long to have a good status quo. But furthermore, we had Phil Jimenez's run, Greg Rucka's fantastic comic run. Of course, Allan Heinberg came in, Gail Simone, and then we had a bit fumbles with Amazon's Lost. No, it wasn't Amazon Lost, it was Amazon's Attack and J. Michael Straczynski's run. We don't talk about those, but overall, that was such a good period. I think that Wonder Woman in post-crisis might have been more consistent than Batman and Superman, believe it or not. But of course, going into New 52, people do like the New 52 Brian Azzarello run. I'm one of those people, but if you don't, I could see how that could be a dark period for Wonder Woman fans. And Rebirth brought back the GOAT, Greg Rucka, to start writing again. And they had a lot of good stuff at Rebirth, like the Justice League Dark stuff with the Witch Mark, and the Brave and the Bold team-up book with Batman. And even recently, we had a cool Norse mythology arc. We had Wonder Woman Dead Earth and Wonder Woman Historia, some of my favorite books in the past decade. So Wonder Woman has been doing pretty good for herself. The Tom King run is it's such an interesting book, like politically. Like, I don't know what he's trying to go for. Is he right? Is he left? He seems like he's going to be swinging towards Tom King he has a lot of guilt. Like, as a CIA agent, you could see what he's trying to do. I don't know if it's working. I haven't been keeping up because it started off kind of strong, but it fell off a cliff. But I can't speak too much about it considering I haven't caught up yet, but yeah. Wonder Woman's villains. One of the cool things that I think people don't really appreciate with Wonder Woman is that her villains, they fall under two categories where I don't think other superheroes have. She has, of course, the goddess aspect of it, right? With her fighting characters from Greek mythology. You have the Circes, the Ares, you have Hades. There's a lot of Medusa. Like, there's a lot of cool otherworldly villains that lead to Hecates. Dude, there's so many where it's like it leads to a lot of cool visuals and just a lot of great dialogue. Like, if you're one for like prose type of reading, there's a lot of cool things that come with that. And then you have the more grounded superhero type of villains where you see them wearing costumes, or there's more of a grounded, they're more likely to be seen in a city type of setting, like of course, Cheetah being one of her main villains, who is very underrated considering it's kind of like a weird back and forth aspect where they're kind of like friends and foes in a way, but like having your main villain be at that kind of like, will they be a good guy, will they be a bad guy type of thing is really cool. And in recent years, they have been really pushing into Cheetah being a good guy, which is very rare, honestly. It's kind of like a Professor X Magneto kind of situation, but obviously considerably different, seeing how like one is based on more ideological differences, and the other one is kind of like more about like morality and just like the harsh things that get put on a person, right? Like Cheetah was basically damned to do this, right? To be this type of character. I forgot what the god's name is because they have like a really long name, but overall, like, there's a lot of just sympathy, especially considering Wonder Woman is such a sympathetic character, that I'm glad in this arc that they've made between these two characters, that they've pushed themselves into a position where the only option was to have both of them essentially just come together, right, and work with each other. So I'm glad they moved down that path. And then characters like Dr. Psycho, just a raging misogynist, it's with like telepathic powers. He's a great villain. Who else? Giganta is great. Angleman is up there, like, or well, at least from the Tom King run, I've seen that he's been trying to do some cool things with him. But yeah, there's a lot of just underrated villains and a lot of underrated potential. Like when I compare them to other characters, which I will do in a bit, but when I compare these villains to other rogues galleries, you can just see how even though I don't think they're as developed as a Batman or a Spider-Man or even a Superman, I can see the effort being put in, and I see how that, unlike other rogues who might go off pure, unadulterated, just aura, there is substance to a lot of these characters, and they have a lot of stories going for them. Like, the Wonder Woman writers, unlike, say, a Batman writer, aren't trying to reinvent the rogues gallery wheel. They're just trying to tap in as much as they can with what's already been established and just build from there, which I do really appreciate. And yeah, I would like to know what you guys think down below of who you think should be the fourth pillar, whether it should be the characters that I've mentioned in the intro, or maybe someone that I'm just completely forgetting about. But yeah, let's keep moving. Now I'd like to kind of like compare Wonder Woman specifically to some of the other characters that I mentioned. So first, let's compare to some Avengers, why not? So Iron Man and Cap, when was the last time you've seen Iron Man and Cap with a good comic run, bro? They have been 0 for 5 probably for the longest time. I'm sorry, bro. Like, Iron Man, his last good run was probably, let's just say maybe Matt Fraction's run when the Bleeding Edge armor came in. This, I know, controversial. They've been doing Tony dirty for the longest time. I think the I Am Iron Man miniseries was good. The new run currently, where they have him with a more medieval armor, does look promising, but I think we're only 2 issues in, so it's a bit too early to speak on that. Captain America, probably Brubaker, like a decade ago, was his last good run. Maybe Rick Reminder's Dimension Z one, that was pretty good as well. But Captain America, the thing with Captain America is that he's a shared role, right? So sometimes they'll have Steve Rogers in the position, sometimes they'll have Sam Wilson, albeit very briefly. But some people tell me Ta-Nehisi Coates' Captain America run is good, but I don't know. It's like, it's very divided. A lot of times, like, my opinion is based on if I see at least somewhat of a general consensus of it being good. Granted, I don't follow this always. Like, if you look at Cy Spurrier's Flash run, a lot of people didn't like it, especially those who came off of Jeremy Adams' run. But I read it myself and I was like, what are they talking about? This is peak. So maybe I gotta do that with Captain America. But I haven't seen much progress there. Though, I will say, compared with everyone else, the Iron Mans, the Wolverines, the Hulks, Captain America does have the best rogues gallery out of all of them. Because, like, they actually put in the work. Red Skull, Crossbones, Taskmaster, Zemo, they all have iconic moments and just good, not just dialogues, but just interplay between other villains, other heroes, and just being by themselves independent from Captain America, which I don't see with somebody like an Iron Man, Wolverine, or Hulk. Wolverine, Wolverine in the 90s was something else, but I think the problem with Wolverine, like, putting them, and I'm kind of like, I don't know why I'm kind of like rating them in such a weird way. Let me go back a bit. Like, Iron Man and Captain America, why I wouldn't put them on the the Mount Rushmore to be the fourth pillar is that, for one, Iron Man, there's kind of a lot of similarities with Batman, like, being completely honest, and I don't see anything that he does that's kind of like a blueprint for such a large amount of characters. Batman is a technological hero in and of itself, so yeah. And I don't see enough heroes where he influences them, enough big heroes, that is, right? Captain America, I feel like he's way too close to Superman in that Paragon aspect, right? They both, of course, are like real American symbols, but Superman is already there. You don't need to be there, little buddy. And Wolverine fills in that kind of anti-hero spot, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know if you think that there should be a anti-hero Mount Rushmore, or if there should just be like just an acclamation of anti-heroes into that superhero big four. But I feel like he gets influenced by Batman. Like, I feel, and even like Hulk I think has the biggest chance and argument against anybody. Like, the thing about Hulk is that, yeah, you could consider him an anti-hero. I don't know if I do. I don't know why I don't consider Hulk an anti-hero for some reason. Same with Iron Man and Cap, even though they do kill. I feel like it's because they tried their best not to, and that's like the last resort. Even with Hulk, when Hulk is in his right mind, he does his best not to kill. He will break all the bones in your body, as what you've seen with Immortal Hulk. But like, in terms of good runs, he never was the most consistent. But like, Immortal Hulk is an all-timer. It is I don't want to say masterpiece, because it kind of does fumble at the end. I know, controversial, but, and then Donny Cates' run after it was kind of sucked, but like, it came back with PKJ, and they're leaning into that body horror aspect, which I don't think anyone on this list, anyone on this tower kind of like competes with, except maybe Batman. Batman does fit into that body horror aspect, but like, the thing about like being on the run, being this monster type of character, I feel like that kind of is an archetype in and of itself, the misunderstood one, where I feel like that could be something on like the pedestal, right? But Wonder Woman she covers too much as like female. If you say female superheroine, that's like 30% of big heroes, right? If you look at the misunderstood character, Spider-Man, he goes by like Menace. A lot of people know him as a menace from JJJ, right? Batman, he gets chased by the police, so like, it's not like he's the only misunderstood character, but that's just my opinion. I don't know if there's any other character that kind of could fit that fourth aspect of a Mount Rushmore, but it's like, a lot of times when I see this online, it's based on popularity and not based on, has these characters been influential enough? Like, you being in a $1 billion film doesn't tell me anything when all these other films around you are also in $1 billion, It's like, Captain Marvel made $1 billion. Does that mean she should be on the Mount Rushmore? No, like, I don't know. But overall, that's just my opinion. I think Wonder Woman is severely underrated and should be given her flowers, but that is just me. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as I just said. And yeah, see you all later.